The first reality that no amount of integrity will sustain you throughout life stands as our starting point. Those who place their hopes in pure intentions are living under a false belief which they secretly acknowledge, although they try to ignore it. Reflect for a moment. Have others ever taken advantage of your kind nature? Have you consistently chosen the moral path, yet ended up ignored or experienced others taking advantage of your goodwill? Society presents you with a reassuring tale which promises that moral excellence automatically leads to success and virtue will receive its proper reward. But reality operates by different principles. The world operates through its own systems to give rewards to those who master its complicated nature instead of automatically giving them to virtuous people. At this point, Seneca's wisdom becomes truly helpful. Through his observations, Seneca recognized that humans operate through practical and flexible self-interested behavior. In his letters, he demonstrated that principle, lacking practicality, transforms into weakness, while goodness applied without discernment becomes a disadvantage. Think about this specific situation because it happens to you frequently. Take a closer look at the people whose accomplishments you admire, along with your respect for them. Did they reach their summit through moral perfection? No, they achieved their goals because they mastered the art of strategic decisions and recognized ethical principles as flexible tools. A person needs to learn when to show principles and when to maintain strategic silence in order to become influential rather than insignificant. Your main difficulty stems from your inability to protect yourself rather than your ethical direction. You operate under the incorrect assumption that all people follow your moral standards, which demonstrates dangerous naivety. Our society contains people who wear masks of honesty to deceive others while keeping an eye on innocent targets like you. Seneca provides enlightened integrity as an alternative viewpoint to conventional moral codes. Your values remain intact because this approach does not mean compromising your fundamental beliefs. The key is to understand that integrity requires an awareness of human dynamics when paired with it. Learning to understand behaviors and predict intentions, as well as determining trustworthiness versus situations requiring caution, constitutes essential knowledge. According to Seneca, one must choose respect over affection, because survival depends on it. What path have you chosen? Most likely you've prioritized affection, acceptance, being perceived as harmless. Yet, what has this approach brought you? The approach has failed to generate either genuine respect or meaningful influence. Your reputation stands as that of someone who cannot be harmed because integrity without power generates only condescending treatment. Don't misinterpret my message. The suggestion in my message does not mean you should discard your principles. You need to learn the art of protecting your values without losing your ability to be used. The world operates on a system where perception leads to reality because it rewards those who are perceptive rather than simply righteous, and true virtue requires balancing awareness with principles. The key principle, according to Seneca, states that perception determines what becomes reality. A person's true identity derives from both their natural traits and the way other people experience these traits. Showing weakness leads to receiving treatment in that manner. Displaying capable behavior will lead to receiving suitable recognition. Think about the number of opportunities which slipped away because you avoided asserting boundaries to protect your approval status. You chose to stay silent when disrespected multiple times, only to learn that such passive behavior lowered your standing instead of protecting it. Strategic development demands a different approach than manipulative methods. The fundamental ability to determine when to connect and communicate and when to step back and establish boundaries stands as the key element. Discerning use of integrity leads to advantage, but undisciplined application turns it into your worst weakness. Most morally sound people hold a false belief that pure moral conduct will automatically find its place of value in the world. Society places its value on effectiveness alongside resilience, together with the ability to make tough decisions. A person demonstrates integrity only when their competence becomes evident. The lack of capability makes your principles become meaningless. Seneca would tell you not to be helpless in difficult conditions, not to let your moral principles make you a servant. Real virtue is not submission, it is reason. It's not about blind compliance, but about the active role of steering events toward what is genuine to you. Can you tell yourself honestly how much longer you will let others take advantage of your goodness? How much longer are you going to stay stuck in your foolishness? I am not asking you to give up your moral principles. I am asking you to embody your values in ways that are advantageous to you rather than detrimental to you. Learn to understand the instances where openness will work to your advantage and where secrecy will, and when to show warmth and when to set boundaries. You cannot expect the world to be fair, but you can learn to live with the way things are and still remain yourself. Seneca didn't pen his letters to encourage hypocrisy. He penned them to show how to survive with integrity. Now answer this. Do you continue to live under the false belief that good intentions are enough? Or are you going to start putting real wisdom into action? This is an idea that almost no one understands. The significance of perceived power. It is not enough to have competence. You have to be able to show it. It's not enough to have intelligence. You have to be able to present it well. Because in the society we live in, it is often the case that substance is less important than image. Think about this pattern. Have you ever seen someone with average potential surpass someone with great potential? Have you ever noticed how calculated self-promotion is often rewarded while quiet excellence is left unrewarded? This isn't coincidental. People don't follow the most virtuous or the most qualified naturally. People follow those who display confidence, those who know how to present themselves well, those who display authority, those who at least don't lack confidence. This is where many falter. They believe that merit speaks for itself, that true ability needs no explanation. But human interaction doesn't work this way. Our world does not naturally reward correct perspectives. It rewards those who can convey their point of view better. Seneca recognized this principle perfectly. It is not the intrinsic characteristics that matter, but what other people think about those characteristics. Perception is the reality in human life. A leader who is unsure of himself inspires no trust, despite his readiness. A person who cannot convey the worth of their work will never move up the career ladder regardless of their qualifications. A person cannot expect to be appreciated for their worth if they cannot present it. Hence, mastery entails not only creating substance, but also learning to create a narrative, how to control how people see you, how to create the right image for different situations. It's not trickery. It is to channel attention toward your real strengths. Here's the truth. In every encounter, people don't get to see the real deal. They experience it through the lens of assumption, prejudice, and feelings. The question is whether you are letting these filters work against you or for you. If you have integrity but appear weak, you will be taken as weak. If you stand for justice but waver, you shall be disrespected. If you possess expertise but are unsure, you will be ignored. The principle is straightforward. The ability to manage perception is what sets people who shape their destiny from those whose destiny is shaped by others. We move into a more complex but crucial area: information management. Have you observed that influential people always seem to have information that others do not have? Why is it that those who excel continually seem to have an information edge? The answer is rather easy. They know when to share information and when to keep it to themselves. Well-meaning people often think that openness in every respect is a moral quality, that revealing everything one thinks and knows is integrity. But realistically, information is power, and giving it away for free has its price. Seneca wrote that a wise person must learn to hide at times rather than reveal at times, not deceitfully, but because in a world of seekers of advantage, too much openness puts one at risk. Learn to control your messages so you convey only essential information according to circumstances, while keeping some things hidden to generate genuine curiosity about your thinking. Your ability to retain any strategic advantage ends when others fully understand your every response. People who achieved historical success in philosophy, enterprise leadership, or any domain mastered this principle. Strategic restraint proves as powerful as expression. Consider a person whose leadership style you respect. Do they openly share their complete thought process, or do they maintain a strategic approach to information sharing? People commonly misunderstand the concept of transparency because they equate it with vulnerability. Many people think hiding information equals dishonesty. The goal is not deception, but controlling information distribution to fulfill important goals. Consider your experience. How often has oversharing caused difficulties? Has there been a time when you shared too much information only to discover it turned against you? How many situations have occurred where you provided excessive explanations to defend yourself to people who didn't deserve that level of disclosure? The ability to control communication does not lead to power, but understanding when to use words and when to remain silent serves as your strategic advantage. A vital lesson which most people disregard shows that the person who speaks infrequently while explaining least receives the most respect from others. Why? Restraining oneself leads to ambiguity, which produces interest, which in turn produces influence. Your thoughts lose their ability to engage people when you share every single idea without restraint. People believe you lack confidence when you continuously explain your actions. People start paying attention when you choose your words purposefully and maintain some space for interpretation and share information only when necessary. The strategic advantage stems from being unpredictable. People who display predictable behavior are easy to control. Others can identify and take advantage of you when your emotions, decisions, and responses follow regular patterns. When you exhibit unpredictable behavior, your power grows because people cannot forecast your actions. People respect those who possess authority. Seneca understood this profoundly. A leader who responds in predictable ways becomes ineffective. The leader who preserves their enigmatic aura while adjusting according to situations and refusing strict classification maintains their leadership power. You must decide between complete openness and strategic management of your communication for protection. Will you establish a calculated approach to control how you present yourself along with your data and your unpredictable aspects to create legitimate advantages? Strategic planning protects you from being taken advantage of by others. The world functions according to its own rules, so you need to learn how to operate within its existing dynamics instead of expecting it to change for you. By applying what really functions, you will transition from being controlled by systems into someone who effectively navigates them. Strategic accessibility operates as a counterintuitive principle. Many people think that influence demands constant availability along with continuous attention-seeking and complete visibility at all times. Real situations prove the opposite to be true. The habit of constant availability reduces the perceived worth of your services. Scarcity creates desire. Absence heightens impact. Consider this pattern. There are two types of people who command instant respect when they enter a room, yet numerous individuals struggle to gain authority despite their best efforts. The main distinction stems from the perceived worth. Seneca observed that maintaining proper boundaries is essential for wisdom because excessive closeness leads to loss of respect. When you make yourself available all the time while giving away your resources without discrimination, then your presence along with your work and contributions lose their value to others. The principle operates across philosophical influence, as well as all aspects of human life, including professional settings and interpersonal relationships. Providing excessive amounts of yourself leads to becoming replaceable. Being always accessible transforms you into a product rather than an important person. Honest reflection shows that you have frequently provided your all to someone, yet they barely expressed gratitude. How many times have you helped everyone in your circle until you needed their assistance and received none back? This isn't accidental. It reflects human nature. The abundance of something reduces its worth, while scarcity elevates its worth. Learning to adjust your presence requires skill because it determines how you direct your attention while shaping how others view your accessibility. Never feel obligated to immediately answer all messages that come your way. Your constant accessibility to others should not be sustained. Create value from your time away from others. Create value from your time away from others. The ability to withdraw strategically, along with effective energy management, will make people actively look for your presence. Most people fear becoming irrelevant, which presents the main challenge. People worry about disappearing from memory because they think taking a step back leads to being forgotten. The uncomfortable reality stands that if your sole method to stay memorable depends on always being present, then you never actually mattered. People who produce real changes in the world demonstrate their power through strategic moments of silence, because they recognize when withdrawal proves more effective than engagement. Any person who has made history deserves examination for their methods of operation. Historical figures who create significant change do not exist everywhere at once. These individuals do not wear themselves thin through continuous conflicts. People emerge into the spotlight at their proper time, and when they do, they dominate every aspect of the situation. Strategic influence requires mastering emotional self-regulation as a vital tool. Here, most people falter. People commonly misunderstand that influence stems from aggressive behavior and loud presence through forceful and intimidating methods. The absolute mastery, which Seneca mastered, completely depends on mastering emotional control of yourself. A person who loses control of their emotions and reacts impulsively becomes predictable and manipulable, and eventually ineffective. Remember the last time your calmness was disrupted by someone. The instant anger took control of you and you reacted blindly and impulsively. Did the other person take control of that situation? You lost control of your emotions to the person who triggered your reaction. People who manage their emotions let others determine their actions. The person who stays unemotional while keeping a clear awareness of their surroundings possesses actual power to influence. In any discussion or negotiation and all forms of relationships or social interactions, the person who controls their emotions achieves success, because emotional control determines how people perceive and react to you. According to Seneca, the prudent person should always preserve his emotional control together with his mental clarity. Emotional suppression is not the goal, since a person needs to escape the control of fleeting emotions. People need to overcome automatic responses which other people could use against them. Your ability to control others through manipulation will decrease substantially when you learn to use this approach. Other people will try to trigger you while attempting to shatter your mental stability, yet their control over you disappears when they cannot penetrate your core. People who succeed at the highest level demonstrate composure instead of physical strength. The last essential principle we need to understand is strategic patience. The majority of people require swift results from their efforts. People demand instant accomplishments and immediate appreciation and immediate power in their lives. Seneca, alongside effective historical figures, proved through experience that true results belong to patience rather than hasty individuals who act impulsively. The world contains abundant people who rush into action while making spontaneous decisions without thinking about future effects. Those who really make things happen know patience. They understand observation. They understand calculation. A skilled archer serves as an example for analysis. The release happens at the second movement, not the first. The process includes observation followed by distance measurement until the target reaches its perfect position. They act only when all conditions line up perfectly. The effective action operates through the described patterns. Timeliness proves more important than speed for achieving victory, since the timely mover gets the advantage. According to Seneca, fortune supports individuals who adjust their conduct according to the situation. Success demands controlled motion between acceleration and restraint, because success requires both actions at different times. Strategists demonstrate patience by waiting for their strategic window, yet average people charge ahead hastily without careful thought. Think about your current approach by evaluating whether you charge into action without proper consideration, or if you choose to wait for the ideal time to act with precision. Strategic patience, together with discernment and perception management, along with information control and emotional self-regulation and appropriate distance, make up the keys to effectiveness in our world. The principles, when implemented consistently, will help you change from being a victim of circumstances into someone who controls them. The environment stays difficult, yet you will master its patterns. The real difference between people who endure and those who thrive depends on their ability to become superior within typical frameworks. You now recognize that integrity fails to be enough because perception creates reality. Emotional control demonstrates power, strategic patience outperforms impulsive actions, and strategic availability boosts personal worth. The lack of behavior change makes the gained insights useless. Becoming someone different from conventional patterns requires deliberate thought about established norms without arbitrary rebellion to transform your results. Most people face limitations because they operate within constraints that others impose on them. They follow predictable patterns. They react as anticipated. They operate within acceptable parameters. The ones who produce enduring value through rearranging situations advantageously adopt calculated unpredictability and create new parameters and explore unexpected strategies. The essential lesson reveals this truth to all. The established structure of society actively reduces people who choose to follow rules. Following typical behaviors will result in typical outcomes, which produce average achievements and no lasting impact on history's continuous stream. Transcending conventional expectations stands as the exclusive route toward achieving distinction. Build yourself into an unpredictable force that defies classification while outsmarting expectations while keeping strategic reserves to prevent complete understanding or prediction. Your perspective will earn attention because it delivers actual worth. The application of these principles leads to an authentic internal shift. The knowledge emerges that your apparent weaknesses actually stemmed from strategic choices. Your lack of demonstration became the reason for your marginalization instead of your insufficient value because you failed to demonstrate your worth properly. The dynamics are now clear to you. The implementation of this knowledge leads to permanent changes because it cannot be undone. Your intentional management of your presence, combined with your purposeful development of your presentation, along with your strategic information usage and purposeful silence usage, will produce immediate responses from others. Your presence will start to gain recognition from people who used to overlook you. People who underestimated you will wonder what basic change occurred in your situation. The people who attempted to manipulate you will hesitate before they try to manipulate you again because you have transformed fundamentally. At this moment, you grasp the fundamental forces which govern human connections. You have reached a point where you must decide between putting these insights into action or going back to comfortable ignorance. The true separator between success and failure emerges from putting knowledge into practice. You can choose to keep these principles as theoretical concepts, or you can start putting them into practice. The decision belongs to you. The return to your previous ways of being will result in your deliberate decision to stay unnoticed. You deliberately select the path of continued discrimination against yourself. You have the ability to start making changes right now. Start with small modifications, modest experiments. You should introduce an appropriate level of mystery into your social communications. Your habit of revealing too much information should be controlled. Choose thoughtful responses instead of emotional reactions. Selective withdrawal should be used at the right time. Take time to observe before rushing into a situation without thinking. The introduction of small adjustments leads to fundamental changes in how people perceive and react to you during a period of time. A series of small modifications will turn you into someone who cannot be ignored by others. History remembers people based on their mastery of complex realities rather than their physical presence. I ask you directly if you are ready to start this transformation process. All readers who have reached this point should identify themselves since they demonstrate an understanding of the message. The comment section will reveal the number of people who understand how to live with strategic awareness after sharing the phrase, "Wisdom lies in deliberate silence." If this conversation has inspired new ways of thinking, then subscribe to this channel because our exploration is just getting started. Our next conversation will arrive with this reminder: resists the automatic participation in standard operating systems. You need to develop skills for reshaping established systems.